from our front headlock. I'm going to connect my hands in a gable grip underneath of his neck, wrist deep with my outside hand, and my inside, my chin strap hand is palm up in the gable grip. I keep my elbows pinched tight to bundle his head, neck, and shoulder and arm together, and I pull the connection of my wrists in towards his collarbone to gather everything together. My toes of my downed side curl underneath if they aren't already, and I lift my hips up into the air so that I can circle away from my trapped arm. I hit my Olympic roll underneath, keeping my elbows pinched so that as my shoulder rolls to the mat, it drags him with me. Now, I want to try to keep him from rolling flat, so I'm keeping elbows pinched so I keep that elbow trapped. My legs walk in close, and my outside leg goes to cover his arm to take some of the responsibility away from my elbow. Now I extend my bottom elbow slightly to take away tension. I lift my top elbow to create tension, and I bite back down with my bottom arm. My bottom hand, my choking hand of the arm that's circling his neck, moves to my free arm's bicep, and my free hand moves underneath of my chin and jaw here at the lat, up near the shoulder and the armpit. I cover my wrist and the lock mechanism with my chin, jaw, and neck. I start flexing my arms and push a big chest into the backside of his neck to force his head into the choke. So there are a lot of different ways that people go about trying to set up an anaconda. I think one of the least successful ways is by trying to establish our lock from a kneeling turtle front headlock position. This does very little to pull the elbow in the direction that I want to pull it to keep this gap open. If I'm locked up here at the shoulder, he can usually pull that elbow back, and now there's no roll anymore. It's a strongman move at this point. Can I roll with no leverage and yank him over my body? This will lead to you carrying a lot of weight on your face and head, and that's not entirely comfortable. Some people also go down here at the elbow, and I think this does more for leverage, but it does less for control. So those two are kind of like the extremes between control and leverage, what we're going for. And what I want to do is I want to use control to create leverage instead of using control instead of leverage. So when I make my hand grip, I'm making a gable grip with my choking hand, palm up underneath, okay? For the anaconda itself, don't overthink it. If you get here and you like get heat of battle and you've got your grip wrong, but you know you're about to commit to the anaconda, we can still work with it. This particular hand setup is going to allow us to transition into the Darce, our video for tomorrow. It's going to help us transition into that technique without having to change our hands when we realize we have to switch from one to the other. So it's a little bit of a shortcut that'll help us out down the road. But as you're practicing, if you find yourself with the wrong grip, you don't necessarily have to like start over or reset or give your partner or opponent an opportunity to reset and get out of the position. Just send it if you know you're going for the anaconda. But as we go to chain things together, it's going to be a good idea to try to build that habit of going palm up with your chin strap hand. Now, when I connect, I don't want to pull out to the side. What I'm trying to do is use my forearms to bundle his shoulder and his neck together. My hand snatches it all up, my hands, but it's my arms and my elbows and my lats that are actually doing the work of controlling his body. This arm and all this leverage is powered by his lat and his chest, okay? I have to, and his back, obviously. I have to be stronger than that, and just my hands are not gonna cover it. So I have to recruit the rest of my body to control this whole shoulder unit. Aziz, can you pull your elbow back to your hip? He can gather it back just slightly, but not enough to close this hole up. And that's what we're looking for in this situation. I want to open up a gap underneath of his leg so that as my head drops down into a good front headlock position, I can look over and see his opposite knee. And that is going to be the target of my forehead as I hit this Olympic roll. Now, I'm never gonna get over there. That's not how it's gonna work. I'm not actually gonna smash my head on his knee. Don't worry about that. But that's the target. If I exaggerate my roll as if I'm trying to touch my head to the knee, I should have a very powerful mechanism to roll him over the top. And it's gonna get my head underneath enough so that instead of rolling underneath of his lat, if you're trying this choke a lot and you keep getting squished and your ears getting folded up, it's probably because you're staying on the side of the ribs as you go to roll for this, okay? I want my head low, hips high, arm gathered away. There's so much space for the roll. Now as I roll, I wanna make sure that I don't turn this into like a forward roll where I like go forward over my shoulder and my feet smack the mat as if I'm, you know, just working on my break falls or something like that from a forward throw. I want to instead, my head ducks through for sure. It's an exaggerated movement, but the body needs to roll more like a log so that we both, in a long body, roll over our hip and onto the other side. So nice soft feet as I roll through. Those feet might even be able to plant and help me keep position. But now my elbows are tight, okay? We're gonna have a move that we look at in a couple days called the Olympic re-roll, where we deal with his defenses from here. The name of the game at this point is to keep him somewhat on his side with his elbow and head pinched together. His arm gathered in here with a head and arm alignment, okay? If he flattens out and opens the elbow up, my choke is gone, all right, okay? I have a lot of things I can still do, lots of options, but that particular choke has fallen apart. So if I want to finish this choke, I keep him on the side, hands still nice and tight, elbows pinched. I walk my hips in, because if I try from out here, there's going to be too much space. I'm barely going to get my knee to his elbow. I walk my hips in. I take my thigh, not just my knee, but my thigh covers his elbow to pinch it down. Now if he tries to roll back, even if I have loose hands, it's very hard for him to take this shoulder, the one that's closest to me, back to the floor. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to lift this elbow, open my bottom elbow, pull nice and tight. What I'm trying to create is like a Pac-Man situation with my bottom elbow. If I'm super tight from the beginning, I'll never be able to get deeper with that grip. So I open it, I go forward, I chomp. Pac-Man, open, forward, chomp, open, forward, chomp. Now I can open my hands. We go to our basic rear naked grip, hand to bicep, hand to shoulder, and I cover the locking mechanism in my wrist with my chin. Now for the finish, I'm pinching down with this knee. I'm flexing and constricting my arms, keeping everything nice and tight. I'm keeping myself close behind, and I am driving my chest forward into the back of his neck.